If you have a hard time with boundaries, how might your life be different if you could say no as easily as a joyful yes? I'm Love Coach Mariya, and for over a decade now, I've been encouraging folks to empower their compassion so it's big enough for ourselves as well as others, and so our boundaries can become healthier than ever. You're listening to Empower Your Compassion, and on this show, we'll be unlocking transformative insights to help you reconnect to your true yes, so you can say no from that more expansive energy and get more of what you want in your relationships and your life without sacrificing your compassion. Are you ready for more love? Let's grow. Hello, you sparkling being of stardust and sunshine. Welcome to the final episode of this season. Why now? What's next? Will there even be a season 2? Snuggle up, dear heart. It's story time. And you might want to grab some popcorn because I'm a very tangential storyteller. So there are several reasons for why now and what's next, etc. So let's start with the fact that this is episode 43. I decided very specifically to wind this down on this episode because the number 43 has very special meaning to me. Way back in the day, for any of my fellow Zennials who recall pagers, that was a normal thing for not just doctors. I suppose maybe it was some more privileged kids who got to have pagers, but not quite privileged enough to have big Zach-size cell phones. But in any case, my friends and I used to send each other messages on pagers. And this wasn't like a two-way where you could actually type things. You could only send digits, but we had little codes that we would use to send messages. And one of them was 143, which meant I love you, because that's the number of letters in each word. On a side note, it wasn't until years later that I learned that that came from Mr. Rogers, which is really sweet. But ever since then, anytime I would see the number 143 or even 43, it felt like love. And so, on another side note, a few years ahead of my 43rd birthday, a few years ago, I decided I wanted to do something special and do some sort of celebration of all of the work I've done on my journey of personal growth and developing my self-love. And so what came together was sort of like some wedding vibes. I called it my philautia ceremony, which is Greek for self-love. And I took vows to love, honor, and cherish myself in front of a few friends and a videographer as well. So a recording of the ceremony is actually up on my website. It's a little buried, but I'll go ahead and throw the link in the show notes for you if you'd like to watch. And I just want to say how important I really truly believe that self-love is. You know, the whole be the change you want to see in the world. I would like to live in a more loving world. And so whatever work I do on myself to love myself better is how I bring more love into the world. And anyone else whom I encounter who's doing that similar work of loving themselves, I am just so grateful for that same reason. So if you're one of them, kudos to you and thank you. Now, another reason the timing of this is apropos, by the time this airs, we'll be just under a week away from what will be the 11th anniversary of the beginning of my coaching practice. And it really continues to feel like such an aligned way for me to contribute to the world. Now, another reason that I'm putting this show on hiatus is, frankly, boundaries and a bit of burnout. Last summer, I quit a job that was giving me panic attacks and decided to delve a bit more deeply into turning my coaching practice into more of a full-time business. And let's just say it's been challenging, and I've recently come to discover that it's a challenge that's not aligned with me. And I'm not afraid of a challenge, but I'm also not available for misalignment. And I'm not closing the business. As I just said, I feel really aligned about coaching. It's just trying to grow it in the ways that I've been shown to doesn't feel aligned. And I don't know yet what a more aligned way is going to be, but I'm open to discovering it. And I know that it's not this. And by this, I mean what I've been doing. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I will say that part of it has been single-handedly producing a weekly podcast. And also just solopreneuring in general. I've developed some doubts about the feasibility. And when I say that, I need to qualify it. It's not just solopreneuring as business, but I'm soloing my whole life. I don't have a life partner right now, let alone a business partner. And I really, truly believe that humans need people. We need the support of community and family. And, a friend of mine said of business, you can't have a company without company. So I think in a lot of ways, I've got some carts before horses going on. And part of this hiatus from the show is also a bit of a hiatus from not really the business so much as like business growth activities, because I really do need to give my nervous system a break from it. And I also need to kind of do like a mental, emotional, spiritual reset on it and open myself up to some divine guidance, inner guidance, new paths and opportunities. But in any case, being a boundaried person means recognizing my no, and what I've been doing has become a no. Now, the final piece and the biggest announcement is that by the time this episode airs, I will have sold this house and gone to Europe. So let me tell you a little bit more about how that came to pass. Well, it's not always easy to find the exact starting point of a story. I think we can start this one last summer, and we'll skip the details, but a seed got planted of a desire to go to Scotland. And by last winter, that became an intention to go this spring. And then a few months later, a friend of a friend who's only a few years younger than me passed away quite suddenly. And it was just one of those reminders that life is short and precious. And I realized that I had been meaning to go to Scotland and hadn't even booked my trip yet. So I rectified that and booked a trip for early April. I already knew I was going to be winding the show down, but I figured I could get everything in order before I left and schedule it to work out, and I would have been coming back the day before this episode airs. However, there was another development. A couple weeks after I booked that trip, circumstances came together that led me to that no to what I've been doing to build my business. And so at that point, the catalyst was kind of economic. I was a no to the status quo of this hustle, solopreneuring business situation. I was a no to going back to good paying work that sucks my soul. And I even ventured an exploration into work that felt really aligned, but would only pay me a little more than half of my target, like minimum income. So, meanwhile, for some time now, I've had in mind a sort of backup plan B option, which would be to sell this house and move abroad. I had considered Portugal before. I've been there. It's lovely. I had considered Costa Rica. I've also been there. It's lovely. But this time when I considered that option, something felt a little bit different. Previous plan Bs sort of revolved around this idea that I would, fully relocate and continue doing what I'm doing somewhere else. But now that what I've been doing wasn't feeling aligned, a semi-permanent relocation didn't really make sense either. And what came from within me kind of surprised me and frankly has not felt very comfortable. I don't know if I've said it much on the show, but I do talk a lot about surfing the flow of life. And what I'm being called to do is surf blindfolded, guided only by my resonance. I've also been saying lately that I kind of feel lost, and so I'm going to go get lost. So what I decided to do is sell my house and just go to Europe. Not necessarily move to Europe, but I do feel called to go there. Again, this is actually my third trip. But this time, I'm just sort of following my heart. And my first stop is going to be Scotland because that was already decided. I also have a friend in Amsterdam, the sister of a friend in Switzerland. There's a couple countries I haven't been to yet that I'm interested in, but mostly I'm just going to go. And as I've discovered from past trips, you meet people and you get new insights and recommendations or opportunities. And I'm just very open to where they might lead me. I might end up resettling somewhere in Europe. The journey might take me to Australia or Costa Rica or back to the States or maybe Canada. I don't know. And frankly, it is scary. It is very uncomfortable. There's been a lot of grief. There's a lot that I'm leaving behind, but loss is also a sign of capacity. And once you build your capacity to receive and hold something, even if in the ebbs and flows of life it exits, that capacity remains and it'll come back, because the universe abhors a vacuum. So stepping into the unknown is scary because it's full of possibility, which includes some negative possibilities as well as a lot of positive possibilities. And I'm using air quotes because negative and positive is very subjective, and it's kind of the drama of the ego to label things as good or bad, but really things just are, and we make of them what we do. So I'm really grateful that I've learned to connect to my body's wisdom and I can feel into my resonance, and that I've done the work to build the self-trust to know that I can follow my resonance, and to know that if I make any missteps, I can recover from them, and to know that alignment isn't something that you set and forget. It's something that you have to feel into over and over again. As you continue to move through life, it'll pull you out of it, and the more attuned you are, the quicker you'll notice and be able to come back to it. And I've talked about one of the benefits of an embodiment practice is being able to discern the difference between safe and unsafe discomfort. And the discomfort of forcing some sort of economic situation that's misaligned for me, I knew it was unsafe because it was making me feel anxious. It felt like there was this urgency or fear and desperation guiding those choices. And this choice, as I've said, has come with a lot of discomfort. There's been a lot of grief, and there is some fear in it, but I'm not choosing to avoid the fear. I'm choosing into this fear, and I know that it's a safe discomfort because I feel calm. I can feel the capital T truth, my truth of it in my core, that this is what's aligned for me, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable. But it's a decision I'm making calmly and clearly. And that's what healthy boundaries look like. They help you say no to what's not aligned for you so that you can say yes to what is. And those are all of the reasons I'm winding down this show. And honestly, I can't promise if there will be a season 2 or when there might be. But if you're subscribed to this channel, you'll be sure to know if it comes back. And if you want to keep tabs on what I'm doing and where I'm at, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram at lovecoachmariya. I won't be posting as regularly as I have been lately, but I will try and get something up there on a roughly weekly basis. And as coaching continues to be deeply aligned for me, I will continue to be available for that as well. And again, you can go to explorelovingboundaries.com if you want to set up a call with me. I'll keep my calendar open because I'm pretty flexible. Or if you want some DIY support, you can go to boundariesthatfeelgood.com and download a wonderful PDF that'll really get you started on making some positive changes in your life. Wherever you're at on your journey, I send you so much love and courage. Namaste.